Hello, good morning. Welcome to Vienna, welcome to SymfonyCon, and thanks a lot for being here this morning. I know it's a bit early, so we'll go a bit slow. So I'm Antonis. I work for a company called Platform.sh. You might have seen us as Opsan. This is our product. In the whole, I come from Greece, so I feel a bit cold these days. You know, it's a bit colder in Vienna than it is in Athens, but I mean, some of you might be a bit cold as well. What I brought with me was, a little hat. I know it's a bit too much for the weather, but when you're not used to it, it's always like this. I mostly code in Python. That's my favorite language, although these days I code in Go, and I've done some PHP in the past, so it's not going to be a very PHP heavy talk. Sorry about that. And before we get started, I want to do some hand waving, get a bit warmed up, since a bit it's a morning yet. So who in this room is a PHP developer? Okay, I was expecting a few hands to go up. Who in here likes Symfony? Okay. Okay, so those two questions were, the ones that I wanted to use to get you a bit started. But now let's go into the more interesting ones. Who in this room likes to write CLIs or maybe write CLIs in their day-to-day life? Whoa. Okay, so maybe you know how to write CLIs better than me. Sorry about that. And the last one, does anyone work with Go or, has played with Go? Okay, quite a few. So let's see what we're going to talk about today. So the talk today is going to be is going to follow this schedule. So we're going to talk about our CLI and how it all started and why we ended up with the solutions we're going to talk later. Why we chose Go and why we went hybrid. I mean, that was a big decision for us. Maybe you have one of those questions for your CLIs as well, so that's a good idea. By the way, do you know that the Symfony CLI is also written in Go? Okay, less hands here. I was surprised as well, but if you download the Symfony CLI, this is written in Go, and we actually used a lot of this code to do what we are going to see today. What's the way to build a hybrid CLI, or what's the way we decided to build it, and of course how Symfony and Symfony Console, which is the CLI component of Symfony, helped us achieve this goal. So let's start with the story. I mean, I always want to start with a story. It's always a bit easier to go that way. So Platform.sh as a company has been around for more than 10 years. So it's a pretty old company, let's say. And especially in the early days, we were very focused on the PHP and specifically the Drupal community. So as a matter of fact, this made us create a CLI that was also written in PHP because we wanted to use a lot of this code, a lot of this, shortcuts, let's say, that going with PHP allowed us to present to the users. And of course, we started with that. We have a lot of code written in PHP for the CLI that interfaces with our APIs and all those things. And we get going this way. But of course, things change and things not always stay the same. And we needed to do the change on the CLI as well. So as the company evolved, we started targeting more ecosystems, more languages, more platforms. And for example, Symfony is one of them and others. And this made us give us the need to move forward. Actually, we had this big question. So when we sat down with the CLI and we said, okay, now we need a new CLI for Opsan, who has this question? I mean, nobody wants to go and install PHP. It's not about PHP only. It's nobody wants to go and install Go. Nobody wants to go and install Python. Nobody wants to go and install a language just to use a tool to interface with a platform or to interface with an API. And this was a huge issue for us because previously we were targeting PHP developers or mainly PHP developers. But going forward, we didn't want to. We want to be easily installed in machines that were not necessarily equipped with PHP, and that was a big issue for us. And this actually made us move forward. So because Opsan is a self-service product, so we want our customers to be able to do everything themselves. We want to, to have the power to enable things, disable things, do all the things through the API and the CLI. Of course, we're developers, we love CLIs, and we want to do everything from the console because UIs are, for people that are not as tech heavy as us. Also, it's user extensible. This means that we can put more power in the CLI and to the machines of the developers, because that's easy to do on a CLI. It's easy to do things like scripting, to go into the CI systems, all those things. And of course, all those things should be easily installable. And as we said, we want to be general purpose. We don't want to say, if you're on PHP and you have PHP on your machines, then you can easily install the CLI. We want to say, you code, we're a developer, we're happy with you. Let's see how we can help you with the CLI get going. So that was very, very important for us. Another big thing was that we had some goals. So we sat down, we said, okay, what are the goals for the new CLI? What do we want to achieve by creating a new CLI, and how we can do this? First and foremost was backwards compatibility. We didn't want to say, you will have, all those new things, but everything you worked with previously will not work going forward. We want to make sure that, every command, everything that you could run with the old CLI was written in PHP will continue to work. We wanted to have performance without sacrificing functionality. We didn't want to have, a slow CLI, or to have a CLI that didn't do a lot of stuff every time you run it. And of course, we didn't want to say that, only if you have PHP installed in your machine, you will be able to use this tool. We want to have a tool that will be available to everybody without any exceptions. So with those things in mind, we started going with those things. So first of all, we want to create a single binary. So we want to say, okay, download something in your machine, make it executable if needed, run it, and then you will be up and running. So this is seconds instead of, maybe minutes or even more. The distribution is very easy. You can just download the CLI. There are many installers that help you download things from the internet. And of course, it's easier to work with different operating systems. Because, okay, you think about it, you say, okay, most of the developers might use Linux or Mac, but there are developers using Windows, there are developers using WSL2, which is the Windows subsystem for Linux. There are many different systems that you need to target. And then if you put into the play architectures, this list goes even further. So by creating CLIs, by creating binaries for each of those architectures in each of those operating systems, it allowed us to target all those developers and make sure that we could actually help them in their day-to-day life. So the question comes to mind, how does one start building a hybrid CLI? Why we want to do that? And the thing is that you can have full backwards compatibility, so we can use all our PHP code, but we can put it in a wrapper, and we'll see how we made this work, so that we can start writing new development, new functionality into a new language, into Go, for example. This was what we chose. So by embedding, actually, the legacy CLI into the new one, we have backward compatibility out of the box. Everything that you could run before, you can run it moving forward. So that's a big win. That's really easy. We didn't have like a team of many developers to just go and rewrite everything in Go. And we didn't want to wait a lot of time to go to market and say, we have a binary, it works, it's there. So we needed to embed it. And that gave us, speed into creating this functionality. The second thing is that by using the old code, we could have the exact same user experience, the exact same developer experience. We are developers, we are peculiar people. We know that we don't want to change the way that we do things. We have CIs, the CI systems running the code. We don't want to go and change those. And of course, we can support in the same way both old and new commands. So we wanted to make sure that all those things work as they are. The second thing that we had as a goal, if you remember, was performance without sacrificing functionality. So Go was a very good choice for us. It's a very widely used language. It compiles to a single binary. So this means that we can easily do this. It compiles to a single binary with the same code, with the same toolchain for multiple architectures. So if you have not worked with Go, you can just create the same code. And from, for example, my Mac, I can easily compile something to run on Windows or on Linux or on other systems. So that was really easy for us and very handy to work with. it's fast. I mean, okay, fast is something that's, how do you perceive things? But at the end of the day, it has the marketing language that Go is fast. So it was good for us. And the other good thing for us was that Go is widely used for developer tooling. So you might have seen tools like, for example, Terraform or, other open source tools that are widely used. Most of them, for some strange reason, are written in Go. So this meant that if we want to create plumbing, if we want to create developer tooling, it made a lot of sense for us to do it in the same language that other tooling is being made. And the last one, of course, was no PHP dependency. And that was maybe the hardest one, at least for us. Because, okay, how do we run PHP code from Go? That was the question. And we actually tried a few things. We even had, some more, let's say, far-fetched things to go and try. Like, for example, we want to see, can we compile PHP into something like WebAssembly and then create a WebAssembly VM inside of Go, which was really amazing. I mean, I was really excited to go and tackle this problem, but it was a bit difficult things did not work as expected. So we said, okay, we're going to build a minimal PHP binary that only has, everything that our CLI needs. So only the extensions that we need, everything that we need. And we're going to embed this very small binary. We're going to compile it for each of the systems that we are talking about, which is a process that needs a lot of time and a lot of effort, but you only do it once. We don't have to do it every time we want to update something in the system. We do it once. So we build a very minimal PHP binary, and then we embed this PHP binary into the different binaries that go out with the CLI. And then we embed this, and we make sure that we can, from Go, call out to either PHP, if you were to choose a legacy command, let's say, or to Go, if you just wanted to run one of the new stuff that we're going to build into the CLI. So the initial setup was that we embedded PHP, we created a Go wrapper, we actually used Cobra. Have anybody in here used Cobra, which is a CLI library in Go? A few of you, nice. Which is very common in the Go ecosystem. And we said, okay, we have something working. Now we can, at least in the internal teams, we can test it out and move forward. And it seemed to work. I mean, to be honest, the first time that we released something with a new CLI and nothing came back as a bug or, something that was seriously breaking in the system, I was a bit amazed. I was like, do people even use that? Or, it's the common question. Then we wanted to create the first command. Okay, now we have, okay, first step was bring the legacy code into the new, let's say, installer. The second step is, okay, let's put some more new functionality into the CLI so that we can do this. We chose the absent project init command. So this is a command that we have created that identifies what's happening inside your project and then creates the YAML file that you need to deploy to absent. So we said, okay, that's a very nice command. We don't have anything like this into the old CLI. It's very absent specific. It's a good first candidate to start with that. This went nicely, and people were using it, and we also had the fun showcasing the demo because we had some, let's say, smart things inside there that understood, what languages are you using, what frameworks, what databases, and then this creates the output, which was, a good first step. But of course, with every process, there are good, bad things, and ugly things. So let's start with the good things. The command was implemented in Go. I mean, that was one of our main things. We want to make sure that we have a binary at the end that was really nice. The second thing was that by using Go, we could easily embed tooling that was written in Go in other places. So, for example, all the absent project init, the command that was discussing before, is in a different repository in GitHub, which is called platform/platformify. This means that we can either create the binary from that, or we can embed the binary of the command inside the Go CLI of absent. So this means that we can easily, have flexibility in there and all those things. And of course, we can reuse the code from the Go CLI in other places. Let's say that we slowly build an SDK in Go. You can easily use this Go SDK in your projects to interface with our API. So all this interoperability, especially with Go, which works just with the GitHub repository, was very handy for us. And, it made sense after all. But of course, not everything is good. The bad thing is that we now have to manage releases both for the legacy CLI and the new CLI. This was something that we knew we would face moving forward because we had the legacy CLI, we had people running the legacy CLI and still using the legacy CLI. We wanted to have, for example, security fixes, small improvements of the commands and everything. And all this code was written in PHP, and we needed to go there and fix it. So we needed to release CLIs on the legacy code alone. So we have to manage both things now and have to support both things now, which is okay. Something that you decide to do by doing all the other good things that we talked about. And of course, because developers are sometimes lazy, most of the code is still on the legacy side because we have all this code throughout all those years that we don't want to throw away. So we have a lot of code to maintain and to make sure that it works nicely on the PHP side. The ugly things, so things that kind of work but not in an ideal way, is that Symfony likes shortcuts. So for example, if you have used the Symfony CLI, you can do things like absent p:\init, for example. So this will be the shortcut of the large command. So you can do shortcuts either on the first part of the command or the second part. This works very nicely on a Symfony-like CLI, like our legacy one, but does not work as nice on the new commands. So if you try to do today absent p:\init, it's not going to work, or will it? We'll see in a bit. And of course, autocomplete is a very big thing in itself. Imagine if you go and do it in 2 CLIs embedded in one, that command routing is not working nicely in both ways. So especially the autocomplete one is something that we really wanted to fix, because okay, maybe you can live without shortcuts. At the end of the day, okay, you know the full command, you can write it. But for autocomplete, that was a big issue for us, and one of the things that we wanted to fix moving forward. And here comes Symfony Console into play. So if you remember in the beginning, I told you that the Symfony CLI is written in Go, at least the new one. This means that there is a lot of Go code that implements all this functionality, all those shortcuts, all those autocompletes, all those things in a Go way. And this means that we could potentially reuse that code because it's open source, and then try to use this instead of Cobra and build our CLI using that. And actually, this is what I did. So for us, it was spot on because the legacy CLI is using the Symfony Console in PHP. So it's exactly the same thing, same UX, same DX, same everything. And of course, the argument parsing and all those things, how the command routing works, all those, things that we didn't really want to mess with, work out of the box. So we just need a way to handle both legacy and new commands in a centralized way, use maybe the new Symfony Console component, and then through that, move forward. Wrong button. So command routing. So what we do is we load all the commands, both legacy and new, in the Go side, and then we do all the routing there. So depending on what did you type, we could easily decide if you typed a command that was going to be routed on the legacy side or on the new side. That's good. Command is parsed and validated. So if you do not put an argument, for example, or you mistype a command or something, we can do all those things on the Go side, so we don't have to hit PHP at all. And then at the end of the day, okay, we know this command, we route it, we execute it. So it's a very simple router. It's not something very sophisticated, but still allows us to have, all this experience that we wanted to have previously, with 2 CLIs working as one. And also, of course, things like autocomplete and all those things work because we have a centralized way to expose all those commands. Completions. Since, again, the commands are there, we know the arguments, we know everything, we can easily do the completion, even though the command is not going to be executed by Go, which is really nice. And let's see how the rollout worked, because that was, really important for us. So initially, legacy CLI is in the primary. That's where we are. That's where we started. And then, for a lot of time, we were primarily using the legacy CLI, and we will keep using it moving forward. But slowly, we started having the first Go-only commands. So project init, like the one that I was discussing, or the validate command that is validating your configs. Now we have the split version thing where you either install the Go CLI with a new version scheme or the old CLI, and we maintain both versions and we do all those things, which is not ideal, but still works and gives a lot of value. And now we're in the process of switching completely to the Symfony CLI component, which means that moving forward, all your commands will be routed, auto-completed, and everything using this component, which is really nice. And then will allow us to more gradually migrate commands. So now we can easily say, this old command that was previously written in PHP and it's not ideal, or we wanted to change it a lot, it's easy to just say, okay, write it in Go. Then instead of loading the legacy command, we can load a new one. It's going to work in exactly the same way, but it's going to be completely handled by Go. So how do we make sure that, we don't break things? Because, okay, moving fast and break things might be a motto of other companies, but it's not something that we want to do to our customers, because at the end of the day, you provide us with what you care most about, with your code and your production environment. So we don't want to break things for you. So we have, of course, integration testing that matches the legacy commands with the new commands. So we make sure that, either running just the PHP version of the command or the embedded one is going to produce the exact same results. We don't want to break your CI systems in a night because we did a small upgrade and then, things will not be nice for you. We do unit testing, of course, for the Go command, but I suppose that this is something that all of us do. And we also started doing mock API test on the end-to-end testing that we're doing, because with Go, that's even easier, because we just spin up, a mock server and we do all the end-to-end mock tests in there. So Go has produced a lot of other side effects that are very valuable for us. And, maybe there are even things that we did not think about that we could use moving forward. We don't stop here, of course, and we want to see how we're going to move on to the future and how we're going to continue doing things moving on. So up to now, all our commands are unauthenticated. So we don't have to authenticate with the API, which might be a bit more tricky, because if you imagine having two code bases that need to authenticate in the same way, and you don't want to say to the other person, this is a Go command, can you please log in again? Just to make sure that it works? No, we cannot do this. The good thing with the CLIs is that they store credentials in the local file system or the secure storages of your device. So this means that we just want to make sure that the legacy commands and the new commands are using the same interface. So it's already there, and it's something that we work with, but it's something that's not today in there. The other one is that by using this new way of building the CLI, we can use even better the local system storages for securely storing credentials, which was not as easy to do in PHP. So, okay, maybe if you have authenticated with PHP previously, we keep using, the file storage API that we had before. But if you log in the first time with Go, then we store it in this storage instead, and then we pass this information to the legacy CLI whenever it needs to run. And then finally, we want to make sure that all the authentication is moved to Go, because, it's faster sometimes. Concurrent runs of the CLI when it comes to authentication and race conditions in PHP, let's say that they have not been amazing with us. Let's say that you do want to do an SSH connection to your containers. This means that we do a back and forth with the SSH agent in your machine to make sure that you get the correct credentials for the authenticated session. With PHP in specific machines that do not support file logging was not ideal. We hope that we are going to solve this with Go. Now, before wrapping up and moving on to questions, I have a working version of the code with Symfony Console here. So I said, okay, what's more fun than starting the day with a demo? So let's see how we can make sure that it breaks. So in here, I have both the apps and CLI. Oops, you don't understand Greek. So I have my apps and CLI, and I have my UCLI, which is the one that we're created now with Symfony component. So if I do, for example, apps and project init, it's going to correctly, I'm talking, I'm writing, but nobody says that, you have the wrong screen in there. So let's see how I can fix it. Mirror display. Oh, now you see what I'm talking about. So again, apps and project init, which is small. Okay, so apps and project init was a command I was talking about. If I run it from the apps and CLI, everything is okay. If I use the uCLI, this is the CLI that I have built locally using the Symfony component, works okay. But now if I go and do apps and pinit, for example, so the Symfony CLI has this nice thing of, creating aliases with any letter that doesn't clash with other commands in your system. If I do this, I'm going to get an error message saying, there is no command like this. But if I do upinit, upin, you see, everything works. I know it's not amazing. It's not, something that greatly differs, but it's something that, we can use as foundation moving forward, and you can do this with all your commands. And of course, autocomplete work. I have not installed them locally on my uCLI because I built it 28 minutes ago. But we can have fun with it. Also, we have a booth if you want to pass by, and we can discuss more about this. And I think I'm almost, if not at time, so I think I'm going to wrap here. Say thank you very much for showing up that early. I hope you had your coffee. If you need more, there's outside. We also have latte. I don't drink milk with my coffee, but if you do, we have it. And I'll be happy to talk, Go CLIs, PHP CLIs, or anything else. I'll be at the booth all day and tomorrow, so feel free to pass by. And I have this amazing cube that I'm getting ready to throw at you if you want to ask any questions. Oh, you hear me 2 times. So thank you very much. And do you have any questions? Cube? You want to cut it? Okay. To clap. Okay. Cool. No questions? You do have a question. Okay. I will not throw it because I'm a bit afraid.
So can I include my Symfony console? So that's what I understand from the title. I can my own project console commands include in Go.
So that would be something that we are thinking about to allow you to create extensions, and with Go that would be even more easy. Today you cannot do something like that, but the idea would be that going forward we can create extensions, we can create other things, and we can say, if you declare your command like this and that, then you can immediately have it in your CLI, and it can be authenticated, and you can do things like that. So today not, you can do it through SSH, which is, you still can do it, but it's not ideal, but hopefully in the future, yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can I have a second question?
Sure.
And can I include my own Go CLI commands? Like you found a way to include PHP. So is it documented so I can use it as well?
I'm not the best person to document things, but yeah, I mean, if you follow how we include our Go commands, you can do the same. You can just copy and paste. And then in your Go commands, you can just rebuild the CLI. Of course, you need a local bit to do that. And then you will be able to do this, yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I will not try throwing, but I will run up.
Take your time, thank you. I love the demo. I love PHP, I love the Symfony console, and I also love the Go console.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Come find us.
I will. But look, just like the woman up front asked about embedding the PHP, is there something a little bit more complicated also available? Like is the apps and CLI, for instance, open source?
Yeah, the apps and CLI is open source. Actually, you can go to GitHub/platform/CLI because both platform CLI and apps share the same code base, and that was, the backwards compatibility thing that we talked about before. And then you can see the whole process of how it's being built, and everything. It's open source. We don't have any of all those things I showed today closed source.
Lovely, perfect answer.
Feel free to, reuse. I will not say copy and paste. I would say reuse what we have done, and we'll be happy to chat as well. No more questions. Okay, feel free to grab me afterwards and enjoy 2 amazing SymfonyCon days.